does our intro?
I don't know. Are we on? Are we live?
Yeah.
Can you see me hidden behind this invisible wall right here?
Yeah.
Well,
Oh, what?
it's a podcast all about breakthrough.
High five.
That's how we do it.
We're good. So this is our 5th episode.
Something like that. Welcome back
It's
to
basically our
Invisible
5th
Walls.
episode, yeah.
Yeah.
And it has been our non-gaming show. If you're listening to this, you are probably finding us through our other podcasts. If
One of
you're
the
joining
other
us and
many
unearthing
ways.
us from nowhere,
Yeah, welcome.
welcome. So this is
This is actually my favorite show.
because we primarily focus on a game development background.
Yeah.
We talk to the game developers. We talk to gamers with our other show to talk about what's going on in that world. Though it is taking like a huge percentage of my world because we're making our own game and everything around that, I would say 60-40, right?
Sure.
Because at some point I got to exit this studio and face my wife and life, right? And that is when I become family man and I got to be participant in society in some form or another, meet with parents that I don't want to be friends with, and I still have to kind of converse with them. So it details a lot of issues, but also benefits that happens, right? So I'm sure, like on Larry's side, there are things that happens that we are constantly trying to improve from, or trying to be better at. Mm-hmm. And so that is what this particular episode is about. So the format of the show
is about me.
It's about us. Every episode. So we're on Monday and Wednesday. Obviously, you're listening and watching this. You know that.
Yeah.
We should probably talk about how you can find us too before we dig into too far.
Well,
Again, or not already, we're Brandon Pham and Larry Charles.
Together.
What's up?
We're like, we are Venom.
We are together,
Yeah.
right? So there's ways to support us, of course, on patreon.com/BlueChamps. This is in audio podcast form. You want to take us on the go, there we are. Mm-hmm. You can also find us on youtube.com/BlueChamps. Actually, youtube.com/Invisible Walls. It is its own YouTube channel because it's non-gaming.
We didn't want gamers to find invisible walls.
Yes.
Or people who found invisible walls to also be bombarded with game-related content on the same YouTube channel.
Yeah. He's saying our mic is a bit hot. Is it too high?
Well, I can just pull that down.
It's 75.
There, how about that?
All right, so I think it's
Thank you,
perfect.
Twitch.
Yeah, we're just seeing. For some reason, it's a bit low. But by mentioning Twitch, you can also find us live on Monday and Wednesdays at 11 a.m. PST, twitch.tv/blue_champs.
Yeah.
And that is the intro that we always go with. And today's episode, I want to detail objectives, right? So it's turning out to be every Monday we kind of state and talk about our particular life and things that we are trying to be better at right now. So I'll start off with saying the books that I'm reading, right?
Okay.
I think in the last episode we mentioned how books are kind of underrated nowadays, and it is the best way to kind of get a leg up on society, on life altogether. I feel like it's becoming a lost art, but there's a reason why the most successful people in the world still read books, because that is the easiest way to access knowledge, right? It still is, will always be. Mm-hmm. As soon as there is like a power outage, your computer will be useless, and books are going to be the society. If you look at Books at Eli, that movie with Denzel Washington, that's the scenario that everybody's going to always be in. They're going to fight for knowledge, and they're going to look into books. They're not going to pull out their iPhone.
Well, I mean,
and
you
be
know,
able to access all.
If you have an EMP large enough, or if we ever lose all electronic data, your books still, your print still on page. Granted, they may not hold up over time as well as like obviously a blog or anything digital can be edited, changed.
Yeah,
you know, same source, new information. Anything that is like classical information, like the Prince, Sun Tzu, Art of War, or anything like that. Any of these old books that offer biography, that will never change. Anything that just offers like classic knowledge that applies long term, the book is just fun.
Yes. And this kind of touches upon my areas of interest.
Sure.
I'm huge on conspiracy. I'm not as big as in it as I used to be because it is a rabbit hole. You go kind of insane. And actually, the more you find out about things, the more minuscule you feel as a person, as a human being, which makes you kind of depressed. And so that was where I was when I was really digging deep into it. What kind of conspiracy? All types, dude. Once you get into one, it kind of shares. It's like a gateway to all the other stuff. Yeah. But what you were mentioning, right? Imagine if society moves on and something happens. It's going to be along the ways of books being left to kind of give us remnants of our past, right? One of the conspiracies is like society has been restarted many times, right? 10,000 years pass, things died down, and we're reduced to cavemen surviving. And that is one of the biggest questions that happens in science. It's like, what if something happens? The people that will survive are the ones that are in the rainforest that we make fun of. The one that we unearth once in a while in the Amazon by flying a helicopter and messing up with like their way of life.
Trying to bring Christianity over there.
Yeah, trying to bring Christianity.
I heard about that.
Some dude like trying to bring God into their life got murdered. And does it still count as murder?
I didn't read. I'm not going to act like I know. I'm all knowledgeable.
No, I read
about
the same
this.
thing. Yeah.
I know that he died.
Yeah.
I can at least leave it at that. I know that he died.
Yeah, he approached them with a Bible. They killed him.
I don't even want to make jokes. I'm sorry. I take that back. That was low taste.
I'll take a shot. He's an idiot. You're an idiot. Why would you do that? Why would you disturb someone like that? They were functioning fine. And it is very ignorant.
We don't need colonialism in this day and age.
No, not in that way. I mean, we think that our way of life is so much better than theirs. It is, right? We do have longer lives. We actually enjoy things probably better. To us, at least. But to them, it's like completely not even a thought.
Yeah.
To them, it's normal to get mauled by a cougar in the jungle or whatever. Yeah. Cougars aren't even in the jungle. But you know what I mean?
You know a lot about this civilization.
What I mean is that for them, their way of life is, being 35 is like considered old and you're a survivor. They die young, obviously, because of their way of life and all that stuff.
All right, I think the fair thing for us to say is based on our standards of living, we would look at that civilization and say we have it better.
Yeah.
Right? Because we can go to the grocery store and all the animals that we would have had to chase
are
already in plastic there. All we got to do is pay for it. Like, sure, from our standards, I will say we have it better.
Yeah.
Who knows? If I grew up and lived inside of that culture, what if I was the king?
Yeah.
You kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, I have my choice of any of this. It's all mine. These are my people. They love me. I don't want to go be an employee at Amazon. Are you kidding me?
One of your damn books. You're not going to be king, dude.
Keep your damn books. You see these genetics?
Yes. But for every king, there's like 1,000 people that aren't king.
Until somebody throws me off the cliff at the waterfall, I'm fucking T'Challa, okay?
The 6'5" guy. Yeah, that's what he said.
That might be a great living, you know? I might be missing out. I need to go back to my people.
But one of the conspiracy...
I have returned.
One of those thoughts is that, yes, when... society does have to restart, right? It's the people in the rainforest and everybody else in the Amazon that has the survivor skills still sharp to adapt to a nuclear holocaust or whatever.
I think that's the next restart.
Yeah, that's what they're saying. It's been several restarts. Have you seen The Matrix, man? The sixth Neo, man? Yeah. The system being reset, and that's all based on. This is where conspiracy has a purpose. I know people make fun, like you're kind of cuckoo, but all the greatest science fiction out there is based on the conspiracy. What happens with society? Exactly. So as a creative, I always look into those stories as motivation because for a good conspiracy has interwoven enough facts and lies to make it feel plausible for people to kind of buy into it, right? A bad conspiracy dies really quickly. No one even is stupid, right? So it just gets shoved away. So that's why the big conspiracy are half and half. A lot of people do believe in it. A lot of people don't. Those are the best ones. And so when we're talking about knowledge and all this stuff, dude, like I spent the last 2 weeks. And maybe I can pull this up in a bit, but I watched this like YouTube channel on building shelters and huts out of sands and muds and like natural resources. And I would sit in my bed for like 45 minutes straight watching these two guys.
It's very pleasant to watch those.
Yeah.
I love it.
Making a pool out of mud and dirt. I was like, oh man, this is educational.
They got better than us?
Yes.
I don't got a damn pool.
But like, as a guy, and we're talking about the things that I would like to improve on, is like, I grew up in the digital world. I'm a classic tech artist guy that spends most of their time behind a computer, right? Yeah. I would have to be atypical because, you know, fitness is one of my best hobbies that I excel in and I have interest in. So I have a balance of the two. However, when it comes to hands-on fixing the house or any of that sort, Boy Scout shit, I am so ignorant to it. And it's not because I have no interest. It's like I grew up without a dad. That's my excuse. But I think that plays a lot in it, because a lot of our friends are just around that all the time, fixing up cars and stuff. And that just hasn't been my focus. And the kind of group that I grew up in were geeks. And so they didn't really have that in their background. Although one of my friends is very handy, I just never really hung out with him when he was fixing cars. But those are the type of things that I kind of try to like kind of help with my sons growing up. It's like, man, right, this is a very practical skill. We talked about carpentry in our last episode, and how it's so much more useful as we get older, because if the whole goal of life is basically home, shelter, and food, right? That's what I'm finding out. Like, all those things that we learn in social studies, all the things that we like glance to the side and ignore, are things that are creeping up now that matters the most, right? Home, shelter, food, and warmth, right? Are those the three principles of
basic survival
stuff?
Sure.
Yeah, it sounds right.
Food, shelter,
and fire, right?
Fire helps with food and shelter and warmth. Well,
those three things, or two things at the very most. But yeah, I'm constantly thinking about my mortgage. I'm constantly thinking of providing food-wise and shelter-wise to my family. Those are the primary things that it boils down to for everything that I'm doing. Even though I get distracted and get into whatever we're doing on the business side of things, it goes back to, does it provide the home and the food that so my family, and then when I'm looking to reduce things, right? It's like, are those the two things that gets taken care of? And now more than ever, I think this is like a over 30 type of problem. So all you youngins that are tuning in, right, that you have the flexibility to kind of dance around and goof off and take risks. I feel like around 30 is when we start to really feel it and like focus on our last half of our life. Because 30 is the new midlife crisis, I feel.
That's right about when I would say 33 was when I was like, oh shit. I'm at that point, where do I carry things forward from here? So 33 for me was when I would say I started having the thoughts of I'm in my midlife, and where is this going? What am I doing?
So 33 was for you. For me is when it happened fast, because I had my first son when I was 24, right? So I was I teased all the time with all my friends that I've lived my 20s as a 30-year-old. And it's true, dude. As soon as you have a family to take care of, everything is kind of like, that's the center. And so, but I would say more recently, now that we've gone full-time and working on ourselves primarily, right, not having to work for others and worry about their well-being, right, it's just ourselves. I definitely have to reduce things that don't matter and kind of prop up things and focus on things that actually
are important,
that actually extend our life, right? And in the last few weeks or months now, we're doing a month and a half now, that has becoming more clear. Like, I'm finding more of a reason to sit down with a book and learn from things. It's not like we have teachers around us that we can reach out easily. That's why we made the podcast, to kind of invite professors and focus on our life. So what we want to do every Monday is kind of talk about what's going on, but also what we can do to do better, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a perfect person yet. I'm not striving to be a perfect person. I'm just striving to be an okay, functioning person that that we can be proud of, like 10 years from now, right? I think my sole purpose every year is that at any point, if there is a time machine created, and I've stated this in the last episode, I can go back and that my younger self can look up to my upper self or older self, right? Yeah. And see improvement in some form or another. Even if I'm not going to be big and strong, or fast,
sure,
you know, there's other elements to it.
Yeah,
I didn't let go.
I'd love if you saw like, hey, what's up, Brandon? This is
this is
what you get.
This is all shit.
But let me tell you, it's the good life.
There's a good movie, I think, that states that type of thinking to me. If you ever seen Blue Valentine?
No.
So Blue Valentine
is
is
like 1 minute premise of Blue Valentine.
Blue Valentine is with Ryan Gosling and that chick from Dawson's Creek, the blonde one.
I didn't watch Dawson's Creek, but okay.
Oh yeah, me neither.
Ryan Gosling and a girl, cool. Okay.
I saw the commercials, but she's pretty well known now. She played Marilyn Monroe. She's a really well respected actress. Anyways, Blue Valentine. Watch the trailer. Actually, maybe I can pull it up, but maybe not. But the point of the show, it looks at a real perspective of what a relationship is like. Mm-hmm. So it begins the movie with how a budding love romance starts, right? They meet, they fall in love, but it also interlaces it throughout the movie after married life. Mm-hmm. So one scene would be about them meeting and doing everything, and the scene after is how they were married and dealing with real life stuff.
Okay.
And so it was a great...
It's like juxtaposition
of like the hopeful and then the reality, right? And it goes really... it cuts deep, dude.
And the reality.
Yeah. like the dude is balding already. It's like... First of all, it's like 6 years after, right? Because they have a kid to kind of trace the timeline. 6 years after the guy completely let go. Like Ryan Gosling, he's balding, he's fat now, and he's just at a dead-end job, which at a younger age is cool, right? He's kind of rebellious. He was a mechanic and stuff, but now he's just doing like very simple shit that seems to be going nowhere. But he's doing like paint odd jobs and stuff. But like, as a married man and as a wife, you're looking at that, and it doesn't seem as cool because you got to provide and shelter, and that seems to be more important. There's a scene where she runs into her old high school sweetheart, basically the guy she dated before marrying Ryan Gosling, right? And bump into a grocery store, and she kind of still there, not as far as Ryan Gosling, but not as hot as she used to be, right? And she bumps into this guy, and he looks exactly the same as he was in high school. He just looks a little more muscular, right? That's who I want to be. And she and her husband's in the car waiting, right? And she just brought it up. It's like, I just bumped into him. It's like, I didn't ask about him. It's like, oh, he looks like shit. It's like, I didn't ask how he's looking. Why did you bring that up? Obviously to kind of like mask the fact that he looks great and she might have made a mistake, right? That's what I'm trying to go against. So I don't want my wife to run into her ex. Yeah, I don't want my wife to run into an ex. And I was like, oh man, maybe I made the wrong choice. And to me, health and fitness prioritizes everything, right? For you to be, I think we talked about this before, where if you were to choose like a super healthy, fit bum versus a millionaire that is completely out of shape, right? I think we somewhat agreed that the millionaire is easier to choose because you got your millions. I can run on a treadmill. Of course, if we were to do a body swap, that would be the obvious choice, right? Yeah. But if we were to say, hey, in terms of happiness, the bum guy is probably a lot happier because he has a better outlook and he's more like the floating through life, going along with the waves and not having to worry about and like probably less stress, right? Versus the millionaire who's got out of shape, even though he has the money, he's probably internally not happy because obviously the way he looks, but also, the money that he thought he would achieve is not filling in that void that he's always been trying to fill. And that's like a classical story of how people can avoid issues like that.
If it was my mind in each of those scenarios, I guess the hustle in me at the bum stage, like, yeah, I'd be confident that like I could turn this around. I at least know what I can and can't do to survive already, right? Like, I'm obviously, the bum is probably still eating. If he's in great shape, he's eating enough that there's muscular growth and maintenance happening.
Yeah.
There's, at least some sort of thing that he is doing to like be active and to, like, this is going far for me, but like if I was also in the millionaire's body, rich and just like out of shape, I'm like, yeah, get your ass to the gym.
Yeah.
You got the money. Hire a trainer, hire a chef.
Yeah.
If fitness was important to me at that stage, then I would find a way to make sure that that's how it had to
Yeah,
go.
but let's
So
say that option is completely out. You can't change the outcome. You just got to live
if
for
I had
a
to
day.
live my life as like a happy bum, well, if we're adding in that he's already happy, and then we're adding in that the millionaire's not, happiness alone is enough for me to pick the bum.
Yeah.
To be honest, like overall, I think that while I'm on this rock, as much as I want to say like I want to be rich or I want to be famous or I want to be whatever other thing, each one of those things that you want is happiness is a derivative,
Yeah.
right? Like I feel like I want to be rich because I feel like having wealth is going to allow me to be happy. I will have less problems. I will have less things that I can't do. I will have less things that pop up out of nowhere and financially throw me off track, which leads to me being unhappy. All those things lead everything. You providing for your family, the more that you can do it, the happier you are. Maybe not because you get satisfaction out of it, but I know you will not be happy if your family was nagging or your family was hungry or starving.
Yeah.
Right?
Of course.
You're going to be stressed. You're
I'm
not
gonna be
going to be
definitely
like,
stressed.
oh, it's okay, guys. Let's
But-
smile and sing Kumbaya.
No, exactly.
So I will always take happy.
I would always take happy, but in that scenario too, right? I will be better able to deal with my issues in a healthier form. I've seen days. We don't have to hypothetical. Oh, I don't know why I'm tongue
okay.
twisting myself. Hypothetical situations like that, right? I've had days where I would skip, a couple of days and know that feeling of like, I'm getting more aggro. I don't know you get this way, but like if I might equate it to how I relieve stress. I'm so used to my patterns of going to the gym and stuff for so long for most of my life that when I miss it, I think the testosterone level just rises so much where I'm so short with people. And I think generally friends and family that know me kind of see me as like a happy-go-lucky, easygoing person, but I definitely go the opposite direction
left.
when I skip the workouts because I have no way to relieve the stress, right? And so I've seen that part of myself dealing with issues or stress, and I just am a lot slower with that to deal with that, and I'm less patient with it, and which also means I see less solutions to the problem. So I've sat and thought about that myself, and it is bad, right? It is. Let's say you can't work out. What, you're gonna be angry all the time? No. Well, what I've seen and what I've studied is that a lot of people take meditation to kind of help relieve that, and obviously that is a better way. If you can't sit still and not be mad at the world, then you need to cover your bases with some type of meditative practice,
Sure.
and then add the extra layer of physical fitness to relieve the stress.
Well, I would challenge you with this then, and I'm not you. I don't have your life or your expectations, but when I think about behavior, I always go down to the essentials and say, what is being provided? What is lost? How can we replace? So what was being provided is, you said you were working out. It was giving you an opportunity to relieve stress, also increase physical fitness. And you probably even have a sense of like, this is who I am. I get satisfaction out of this maintenance.
Yeah.
It's not a chore for you. It's something that you look forward to. You might even have goals that you feel like you're not working towards anymore because you didn't hit the gym.
Yeah.
Right. So let's put all that aside and say, okay, cool. So when you don't get to the gym, all those things that we just mentioned are being attacked.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
So then the next step for me would say, is there something that you can do to make sure that even if you can't get to the gym, like you have I have a full calisthenics workout that literally I can just go to a place that has a floor and maybe a chair, and I can still hit all my body parts. So at least I guess that's how I would break it down and say, like, okay, cool, because now you have a protection plan. In the event that you can't get the 100% efficient way to do it,
Yeah.
at least you can hit the 75.
Yeah.
At least you can hit the, like, but I did 200 push-ups, I did the jumping jacks, the lunges.
I have no problem like doing push-ups, doing jump ropes, and taking care of myself, right? There's no reason ever for me to ever skip because I can always walk and get there and just pump it out. This last week and a half, though, because
I
got kneed in the ribs, bro. I was playing basketball and this 6'8", a little taller than Larry guy was just driving into the lane and no one would block him, and I just hate that, right? I just hate no defense, and so I would volunteer to at least make it a little harder, right? But this last drive that he did like a charge. He jumped with his knee up. It's a fucking charge, all right? And it was like the worst pain I ever had. It completely knocked the air out of me. And I was sitting there grabbing, and it took, man, this is still healing. It's finally healing. But for that week and a half, like, I couldn't, like, this whole muscle group right here, your obliques, everything that you do to lift or do squats puts pressure on that. And so I couldn't do any strength training at all. And so I have to do strength training and conditioning to feel at ease. And I was completely taking out the strength training to let it heal correctly. But like that week and a half, last week and a half was pretty aggro, dude. I was just aggro. My wife noticed it. My kids noticed it. And it was just, I was trying to, but it's just that period where I couldn't physically do anything. And so in those situations, I want a solution. And for some people, I don't know if you ever tried meditation. Have you tried it before? Have you ever sat there for 20 minutes?
In my life, I would probably say I've meditated maybe 6 times.
6 times? Does it work
in my entire life?
Because I feel with more intelligent people, Larry's a lot smarter than I am. It feels harder for you to shut down, right?
Well, I think my brain activity it's different. When I go into a let your body go, sit down and do nothing and rest and be calm, the only thing that is hyperactive at that point is my brain. So then it's like, and it's exhausting. Yeah. To like, I'll think about this, then I go off on a tangent, then I think about that, and then I go, and it's just like I don't get any of that rest and relaxation done. I fall asleep to the TV because I'm keeping my brain stimulated so that my body is like resting, but it's passively stimulated because I'm doing nothing. I'm just receiving and absorbing, and I'm in a cycle of just doing 2 things: watching, understanding, watching, understanding. Okay. When I shut everything down, it's like, what's that smell? I wonder what this is. Like, oh my God, wow, I forgot to do this. Make sure that after this I go to the bank, and oh, my knee hurts. Pull the knee down a little bit more. Like, oh, like it's my brain just kind of like fires like that, and so. Meditation for me ends up being exhausting mentally. It's like a drain. Yeah. So I actually don't do it that much.
I'm very good at shutting my brain off, and it feels.
You can do it while talking.
Yeah, dude.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I did when people talk to me, dude. And this, I feel like it works a lot better for dumber people because we don't have that much.
You're not
brain
dumb.
activity.
All right, okay.
I'm dumb enough.
Here's a rule,
dude. I can sleep right now.
On invisible walls, we're not going to put ourselves down.
Right.
We're not going to put ourselves.
No. I'm putting that stuff. I'm not putting myself down.
Okay.
Because obviously I'm fine with litter. It's great that I'm stumbling right now with little brain activity going on in my brain. Because I know that about myself, that if I sat down, because I've sat down to do meditation before, I'm able to just relax my whole body and able to be one with the rhythm of my heart and everything. I can get into that. I can go into a trance really quickly. I just don't do it enough because I never really had to. All the physical fitness stuff, it's a form of meditation for me. So I never been a very stressful person where I had to sit down and do it. But that is when this last week and a half is a perfect example when I should have done it. But I'm just so used to running around doing biz dev and all this stuff to like, I don't have the time. I can't do it, right? Reading a book is meditative to me, right? All these things, I'm able to kind of click into that. And I think a lot of it actually goes back into my martial art days. Like I was taught at a young age because we used to sit there in horse stance for like 30 minutes.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, man. It was straight up Shaolin monk style, dude. That's Kung Fu, man. Horse stance. And you have to really dig deep because at that point, if you try doing horse stance, it's basically sitting without the chair, right? and you're sitting there and your leg at a certain state will start shaking, the burn builds up into your upper thighs, and it's basically squatting, and it's building all that muscle strength in your legs by just being there in that position. Yeah. And you have to enter that meditative state to sustain that for 30 minutes or longer.
To not concentrate on the pain, and because that's when you start quitting. When you focus on the thing that's hurting you and harming you, your body always wants to be comfortable.
Yes.
Right. So it's going to want you to stop.
Yes.
And if you can find a way to distract yourself, even for like 30, 40 more seconds, that's 40 more seconds of growth potential. Right. That you're going to receive.
Exactly. And the best way to resist pain is not to resist it at all. You're kind of with the pain. It's very philosophical, and I feel that's where the traditional martial arts really emphasize on, because you got to understand the traditional martial arts. We talked about this in episode 2, where it really helps and excels a person is that there was a certain stage where it was about fighting, obviously, to protect our clan against yours, whatever, right? And then when the fighting styles started to be less apparent, it was more about how do we do this without a person and be combative about it? Yeah. And then there's a lot of where the forms are, and then a lot of like horse stance and all this stuff. And then it got really, really too far, in my opinion, into just concentrating on that. And most traditional martial arts kind of steer too far away from one-on-one training, right? More on self-training. Yeah. But like, there's a lot of philosophy put into that, like sitting there with your horse, and you think you're just like burning your legs. No, it's like really digging deep, and that's where I'm able to tap into it so quickly, because it is a lot like that. Where yes, I can technically still do horse stance and just be meditative. I don't do that anymore. I should, but I'm appreciating what I've learned at a young age, and all that training, all that form, and all that stuff really helped, because I'm able to kind of see movement, especially in dance or people do martial arts or even sports. I really excelled in able to like, what is the correct form to excel and give you the best speed. Like, I've always excelled because of my martial arts training to replicate, because all those forms that people make fun of, that you're fighting air the whole time, like you're constantly at a young age looking at your structure, how to exert energy and pull your fists and throw it correctly, and that easily adapts into all the other stuff that I did later, right? Yeah. Well, getting back to meditation, what I'm trying to say is that I think that's one of the first people I want to invite, like bring in a meditative coach to talk about. I have less of an issue with that, but I would like to see a professional's opinion on how, most importantly, adapt it in their daily lives. Like, I don't want to always be at home at peace. Like, maybe I'm in a freaking train, right? How do I do this to shut this off? And maybe they have an answer for you. Is like, people with like crazy high brain activity always has an issue, and I've seen that.
I think, and this is, I mean, I've lived as myself for 34 years now. I would say my best bet, and I've never tried this, is maybe to meditate with headphones on, or like to provide some sort of concentratable but somewhat passive distraction, so that less of the thing, like if I'm in like complete darkness but I'm awake, if I was in solitary confinement, you wouldn't need to have me in prison for a year. You could give that to me for a week. I promise you I won't ever want to do that again, because it'd be so exhausting. But I think if I had headphones on and like, I don't know, I could be listening to anything, I think that I could see that being a way to help ease me into it a lot better. I'm not anyone special. I'm not like, oh, meditation doesn't work and it's bullshit. That's not my stance. Yeah. I just know that it's been difficult. Yeah. And so the difficulty that I could probably try to overcome is like, maybe I'll try meditating with headphones on and playing something that my brain can attach to, so that everything else can let go, and I won't notice that it's letting go, and then I won't try to fill that space with something new. And like, that's the part I don't feel like I have control over, is whenever I'm like, tell yourself to just go to sleep, it doesn't work.
It doesn't work for you?
Hell, I can't just be like,
so are you somewhat of an insomniac then?
I stay up always very late, but it's very hard for me to fall asleep to nothing. Yeah. That's when I stay up the longest. I always have YouTube on, and I know that it's just going to keep playing stuff and playing stuff and playing stuff, and then I fall asleep faster that way. But it doesn't work for my partner, obviously. But that is the best for me. I get the best sleep when I like throw on a movie, even if I've seen it 200 times.
Yeah,
doesn't matter. I will fall asleep that way much faster than to like turn everything off, lay down, make darkness, and just lay there, because I'll just be laying there, and then my brain just starts filling in the space with whatever.
So sleep has always been an issue for you then?
I will say I always stay up late. It's not an issue for me if I do something to like throw on TV or whatever. Like that's always the best. And I always fall asleep if I'm a car baby, even as an adult. So if I'm in the passenger seat and you're just driving, I'm gonna knock out.
Really?
I don't know why, but I do.
Damn.
I knock right out.
All right, so we have two people that we want to invite. Well, meditation is huge, but I think sleep. Is it a sleep coach?
Sleep study? No, I get sleep. You know, I
know you get sleep.
I know what I need to do. You know what I mean? It's
so
like
you figured out a routine.
Exactly. So for you might just say it's 11:30, time for me to go to bed, and you can like tuck in and kiss a key and then put covers on, and then that's it.
I close my eyes, I'm asleep.
I can't.
I can sleep. I think a lot of it comes from those long hours that we used to do to LA, where I would go get home super late, especially when those trains get delayed or pushed back. Sometimes, man, when we were working at Section Studios for a long time, downtown LA, right? I was working downtown LA basically, and those trains would often get delayed.
Like 1 out of 6.
Yeah, 1 out of 6 people just jump in front of these trains that get delayed. And at first, I think I shared this story before. Yeah, there was so much suicide going on. And it's sad the first time. It's sad every time, right? I don't want to be an asshole. But I remember the first time it happened, right? When I was sitting in those Amtrak trains and the train suddenly stopped and it was like, oh, there's an obstruction going on that's being cleaned up or something like that. They put it in a way where they don't really
want to give you the detail.
Give the details. But everybody who's been on the train for a long time, I was looking around like, oh my God, not again. Someone killed himself probably again. It's like this is terrible. I'm going to be late. And I'm looking around in horror because I was like, someone died. Someone just died, man. It's like, who cares if you're a little late, dude? After the second time it happened, I was like...
You were the one saying it.
I was the one
Brandon was looking around the train. Jesus Christ, again. Oh man!
Once a month, and it was like that basically for the whole year.
Though, like there was very how many trains they had running. People were jumping on the track as a suicide option too often. I mean, like multiple times a year.
A lot, dude. It was a huge problem, and so when I was going home in those trains super late, I would often have to fall asleep to catch up on time, right? Or I would have to get super early, and I would also fall asleep. Sometimes sitting down, sometimes standing up. And so it's not like I've always had an issue falling asleep, but it just made it super easy for me where I can close my eyes and I have a way to kind of shut my brain off and just ease into it. Like it's actually a gift because I know like a lot of people like yourselves and people like Akia, my wife, are so stressed. Right? They just constantly are thinking about scenarios and issues or like, did I do the dishes? Did I do this? Or did I forget something? Like her brain fires off too. So she has problems like you where she has to have something playing to fall asleep, which is annoying to me, right? It's like, God damn, I'm trying to sleep there. You have like your music flaring. So I'm definitely happy about that, right? Obviously I do see it like a huge issue for a lot of people to fall asleep. So I think those are. I'm not saying that we should invite a sleep coach, but I think there's a lot of advantage. Like not a sleep coach telling you how to count sheets.
Have an expert.
Well, like a sleeping expert, right? Yeah. Because there are studies out there that I keep hearing. There's an equation, especially for entrepreneurs, right? We're always trying to squeeze the most hours out of a day. Right, the like how many days can you go before it takes a negative effect on you? Right, those type of studies are coming out now. Right, I've heard studies where like it doesn't work like a bank account with sleep. Right, because you miss hours one day, you can make it up later. Where you're already shortening your lifespan, every time you don't get your full 7 to 8 hours, right?
Yeah.
Some people it's different, right? Kevin Hart went on record saying he only needs like 6 solid hours.
Okay, first of all,
Yeah.
I take my vitamins.
Yeah. So you look towards those guys who are like, how are you guys doing everything without sleep? Some people it's genetics, right? For me, I know for a fact I need around 7 to 8 hours to function and feel good about myself throughout the day. I've gone on to like just as short as 4 hours, and there is about, it's like crunching, right? We're about let's say I start doing it on Monday, right? By Wednesday, my output is so low compared to if I just shoved my tasks aside to the next day and get my full 7 hours.
Yeah.
I can maybe do 6 hours for longer sustainability, but I'm finding that out about myself. So I think it would be a great person to kind of bring on to talk about sleeping patterns and how to sleep well and what it means, because these studies are finally coming out. Because the life extension is a hot topic right now in Silicon Valley. We have a lot of billionaires who want to live forever, and so there's a lot of money being put behind that. I don't know if you heard about any of those. That's happening right now. Like the life drug is happening.
I can see why people would want it. I think especially if you're at the billionaire level, you know how sweet potentially your life could be. And also that, I guess, if that's what people are studying, then it kind of refutes anybody saying, oh, if money doesn't buy happiness. If you're unhappy and you're like, hey, I can extend this, why would you?
Yes.
So if they're
people who have the world in their hands, like, I want this forever.
Yeah, they want to stay on top for longer. Like, so I can understand that sentiment. And I hope it works. I would love to get a healthy 120 years out of this body. But like those last 20 of the 120, I don't want them to be pitiful like other people taking care of me. I would love to see great grandchildren. I would love to see as much time as possible, but I don't want an infinite or like 10,000 years. I don't want vampire life.
I want infinite.
I think that would be depressing.
I want infinite.
I think a good 120 years, and that's like a like holy shit level of life.
Yeah.
If I can get that, I'd be happy. I think I'd have a good run. I'd have enough time to see actions, to see consequence, to see new actions for many different things.
So you wouldn't want to stay, let's say at 30, right? Forever. No. Like, I understand the fact that I don't want to be like 80 years old forever. Who wants that?
Yeah.
Right? I think there's a certain age where I can be functional and still like life.
I would look at it this way.
To extend that period of my life.
If I could have the feeling of 30 until I was 120, I'd be more in line for that, and not I can be 30 for 500 years.
Really? You wouldn't want? I would, dude.
No way.
Oh my god.
That's
dude. I can end it any second. It's not like it'll be a personal choice. Right?
No, it's okay because
I hate the fact that there's an expiration date, and even at that point, I want to extend it. I can't. I hate that fact.
That's the game, man. And maybe we can. Maybe science one day will lead to some sort
It's happening.
Sure.
Like mice are already, because they brought it down to science. It's all about, because there's a certain expiration date in our bodies that shuts down the cells to regenerate. It slows down. Yeah, it just slows it down. It's just like a system within us that is just set at certain periods of our life to just like, hey, everything's just going to shit.
Yeah.
So there's the way they're extending life and the way they're looking at it is to repair it, right? So that it delays all the diseases that old people get, right? muscle failure, all this shit, dementia, all that stuff. And
that sounds great.
They're solving it so by step. It's very plausible now, and it's already happening with lab mice. They're already able to put it as a test result. You know, billionaires are already replacing their blood with youngins, donators, to kind of give that extra kick into it.
Gotta eat these baby carcasses. Like, what was that South Park episode? Eat fetuses.
Yeah, I mean that's where it all came from, right? Yeah. So there was I think within our lifetime there will be a life extender.
I think everything that we're doing in science and health and medicine ethically is life extension. The unethical stuff is problem extension.
It's vitamins, man. That's why people take vitamins.
I think vitamins are great.
Yeah. So a life drug, vitamin, sure. I would take it.
But here's the like the sad part about it is like if everyone you know, also everyone that you were like deeply connected to wasn't also doing it, then you know that you're gonna like, oh man, you didn't get that drug. All right, well, hey, when you hit 60, man, I'm sorry, I'm gonna live on for another 200 years.
Yeah.
Those are gonna be some tough.
It's gonna be
moments.
tough.
What if they're like, oh, we can't make this drug anymore, and your kids don't get it? right? So like Brandon, you're gonna live to 200, but
Is that gonna happen though?
No, I'm just saying, you know,
yeah, sure, but you gotta really paint like crazy scenarios for me to be sad about it.
All right, well, your damn kids, that's not a crazy scenario.
It's crazy for that I can get the drug that they can't.
Oh,
right.
I'm just who knows? But I just look at it this way, man. I have no problem with my natural expiration date, and I hope that I can live the best that I can inside of that window. And I'm in that camp.
I think that's the reality that people have always had, right? I think that's why there's somewhat of a, really, do you really want to? It's like, why wouldn't you, of course? Is because, you know, our expiration date and our ancestors was a lot shorter than ours, right? Yeah. No one, we have people that are living to 120.
34. Oh.
Yeah, but most people back then, because of unnatural or natural death, let's say just natural death, or just live shorter life because the vitamins and the nutrients were
doctors
and all this stuff to extend life wasn't around, and they were fine, right? Everybody around drops dead around 65. It's like, yeah, this is the natural way of doing things. But it wasn't until our generation where we are extending our life that we're like, oh, you know, 120. So I think the vitality of life was kind of just handed to us, and people have just dealt with death as it is. And so no one really questioned it. But I think the argument has been mostly like, if that isn't an option, that can be an option.
Bro.
People would think differently. If Bruce or your kids, right, grew up in a generation where people, you know, there's Steve, he's been around for like 300 years. Would it be the same type of thinking? Probably not. It's like, oh, that seems normal, first of all, and that seems cool. Like, why wouldn't I? Look, he's read every fucking book there's ever made twice.
There's so many.
I have a natural infatuation with time machines.
That's fine. Me too. Actually, I do. For me, there's so many other dominoes that come into play that just, I know that it will crumple not just our society, but the society of innocent things like other animals, just nature, life in general, right?
If we can extend life.
We already have an overpopulation problem, and we already have a problem with medical, financial, like, predatory practices.
Yeah.
Imagine if people couldn't die.
All living.
If everyone's living to 500, only the humans are living to 500.
Dude, if regular ass Bob,
it's gone.
No,
this world is done.
This world is done if we stayed on this rock. Sure,
it is.
But if regular ass Bob has access to the
500-year life
nearest CVS to grab a life drug and extend their life, that means the greatest scientists, rocket scientists, and people who are like Elon Musk definitely have access to it and has the ability to innovate and change things and populate the universe, right? To think that we would stay on this rock with all that knowledge around and wisdom is silly. Like, we would extend human race across the galaxy.
Yeah.
This sounds sci-fi, but it's not, man. Look at Elon Musk
see that too.
Launching people to Mars.
And we bring our human being problems to other planets and just repeat the same cycle.
That's fine. It's
funny we're talking about that now, because that's exactly why I wrote the story of our game the way that I wrote the story of our game.
Yeah. But like, I would say this though, like, I've always had an interest in that. I think, yes, if people choose to die naturally, it's fine. It shouldn't be because of element, right? I don't think people live to 120 feel great about it. The last 20, 30 years, things are just failing. So I think at the very least, people just want to live to the end of their life without anything failing on them and having health issues. Like, I think people would be like me and you in a healthy state, and one day it just shuts off, right? Okay. Not because of a slow death, because I think that's the thing that we can both agree on. It's like that's the thing that we both would hate, right? I don't want to, if I live to 100, I don't want 70 to 100 be like miserable. And I think that if they can solve that issue, even I will be fine with that.
20 more years of you wiping my ass and force feeding me.
Man. Seriously, dude. Yeah, man.
Let me go. It's okay. You've wiped my ass enough times, nurse. You can be doing other things. Just let me go.
I've asked this question to my wife many times. Would you wipe my ass? And she said no. And I was like, I told her, if I had Alzheimer's, would you take care of me? It's like, I'll leave you the next day. You won't remember. And I hope she's kidding. I hope she's kidding.
Oh man, that's a tough one right there.
But it's true though. Like, would you want that on your loved ones? I even came to you. Remember when I came to you and it was like, hey Larry, if I'm in comatose, right? Don't let Akil pull the plug. Because I've had this conversation.
Yeah,
you know, when you're sitting there with your loved one or partner or whatever, and you go off these tangents. And to me, it's a very plausible tangent, by the way. It doesn't seem so out of the question. Where I asked her if I am completely toast. And the doctor says there's no evidence that I'll ever wake up from this, right? My brain is slowly deteriorating the longer I am in comatose. And the bills are just piling up. Right?
Yeah.
I told her, I was like, what would you do? It's like, I'll give you like 3 months. It's like, what? What? There's people I'm reading in newspaper that don't wake up till 20 years later, you know what I mean?
But they wake up.
Yeah, they wake up and they function now. And she's like, I'm not waiting 20 years. I was like, why do you think that's my life? I'm gone. If you pull the plug. She's like, I'm not waiting 20 years. I was like, I hope you're kidding. So I went to Larry. I told him, I was like, Larry, you fight her and keep me on. I'll come back. It's going to take me a while because it's like Inception, man.
Yeah.
To everyone else, it's 20 years. To me, I'm like
2 minutes.
2 minutes. Yeah.
I'm back.
Yeah. I'm fighting. I know I'm a fighter. If I'm a comatose, I'm fighting my way back. I know I'm coming back, right? I have that confidence enough. So fucking wait. This is what I'm saying, right? And Larry, don't let her pull the plug.
Give me the responsibility. The hard part is I have to outlive Brandon to be in a point where, like, you know, his body has shut down before mine has, so that I could be the one. I'll tell my son. I'll be like, listen, son. Or
you
daughter,
passed that message on.
Like, Uncle Brandon has to survive.
I'm gonna come back. Yeah. But it's a real question. Because to me, I'm a big believer, right? I'm not as religious or not religious at all. I think that's it. Once you have your time, I don't think anyone knows. And so I've always been with every decision, not just on life, I always go for the sure bet, right? If there's a choice of me winning $1,000 or having $1,000 versus a chance of winning $1 million, like all those game shows when they put out scenarios, like, get the $1,000, you idiot. I mean, that's a win. Yeah. That's $1,000 you didn't have.
You came in zero, and you have 100% chance of leaving with $1,000.
There's that show on Netflix that came out. It's like a cheesy game show, and the whole idea is that you have to stay up for 24 hours and do these physical challenges on the show. Whoever does it the best wins at the end. And so the guy, like, basically failed all the tests, but the last game he beat out the last contestant who won all the other one. But his last challenge is like, all right, all that money that you counted for 24 hours straight will be yours if you guess it correctly, if you count it correctly, right? It's like, all right, your money has to be within $500 correct for you to win the money that you counted. It's like, oh, great, he did it, he got it correctly. He's like, do you want to stay or walk away $1,000? He's like, oh, good, I'm confident. So he won $180,000 of money he counted. I was like, okay, another scenario. You can either walk away for $180,000, and the whole time he was doing it, he was like, "Oh, it's for my son." So I was like, bullshit. Your son doesn't need $180,000, you idiot. And so he was like, "Yeah, you can keep that, or you have to be within $250 of the money you counted to win $1 million." And it's like, okay. I'm here for a reason, right? I'm here for my son. It's either do it all or nothing. So I'm going for the $1 million. It's like, you fucking dumbass. It's like the greed is real. Yeah. And Akil talked to me and she's like, there's a reason why they pick these guys because they are the type to go
They've already done the survey, the interview,
they go for the cherry based on personality. But that, to me, I base that type of decision all the time. There's a reason why when I go to Jamba Juice, I always get Mango Go-Go. I always go for things I like, right? I don't experiment too much if I don't have to.
You're going to get the value because you know that that's worth the $5.
Exactly.
And you'll be pleased.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I treat life the same exact way, man. I know this is real. This is happening. I know I have control over it every day. You know, things that I set out for the night, I have to control the next day. This is it. In my opinion, I'm not going to work for whatever's next.
I will never be on a show like that because they'll sniff me out right away. Like, okay, so Larry, you've won 180,000, or okay, so do I get that in cash?
Yeah, yeah.
Or no, okay, cool. But like, so this is cool. It's already like nothing happening from here on changes that. All right, good. Yeah, because I already know what money I need to do something with.
Yeah,
like, I've already all right. I've already paid off the last credit card.
Yeah.
Like what? And then I have 175,000 left.
Yeah.
Fuck $1 million. You know what I mean? I'm good. Give me that 180. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
You're not about to fool me on national TV.
Dude.
Larry, but $1 million. Like, I know, $1 million. Yeah. It's great.
You say that, but go through me, right?
I've been, what do you mean go through you?
Like, let me coach you on the shows like that.
No, you don't even have to worry.
But you have to lie to win, right? You have to be there and say like, oh yeah, I would definitely gamble all my money away.
Because here's what people have to keep in mind to win in a scenario like that, right? The show wants to make sure that they can keep making the show. If everybody kept winning the $1 million, the show wouldn't exist, right? Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? How many people actually made the $1 million versus how many people went on and lost the $1 million because they went for it? Yeah. Think about these things. Think about where you are and what the gain that is permanent will actually do for you.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Think about that. Like, take that win. In life, you're going to have these opportunities where, even as an entrepreneur, right? Like, you want to be the guy who's like, no, we want to go for the best, the high, and we want to, and you're going to burn your business out because you didn't actually capitalize on the successes that mattered.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that me being an entrepreneur and seeing people in positions of like this type of thing trained me to be like, all right, Larry, keep your damn nerves. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, if it doesn't matter, okay, cool, risk it. Like, if I was a millionaire and they're like, Larry, you can win $1 million, or if I had no problems, if I didn't need the 180, I'm like, okay, let's see what happens. I'd be more inclined then.
Yeah.
But if I was like a strategist and I was like, okay, Larry, look, let's do the math. Let's break this down.
180, dude.
180. It's a lot of money. That's not house money, but that's solve a lot of problems.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like, if I went home that day in that car with my significant other, knowing that I threw away that chance to fix problems at a shot of $1 million, and then I lost.
Oh yeah, that dude that walked away got.
You had a free chance to step up in life. A free chance.
Yeah.
It was in the bag. Debts were like you were already spending that money in your brain.
Yeah.
And you lost it.
Oh my God.
You had it. It was given to you.
Yeah.
All you had to do was say thank you very much. I had a blast.
Yeah.
Me and the wife are gonna go to Applebee's tonight.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you're a meme.
What was funny about that? I only saw one episode because the show was trash, man. I can't believe Netflix actually. But like basically, the dude the whole time when he was counting the quarters at the beginning of the show, right? You have to count quarters for 24 hours, and then the money that you have, that's the 180 that he counted, right? He would have a picture of his son like as motivation, and that was his story. This dude had a story, right? It's bullshit, by the way. And so he would have, when he was up there, he's like, you won $180,000. How did you feel? It's like, and he pulled out the picture. He's like, this is for him. And it's like, all right, so you have a chance at $1 million. Are you ready to walk away? And he was like, no, he didn't put it back. He still held it. But that's my idea of what happened, right? Yeah. But then when he lost, and he was like, you win nothing. But the host was being, I think, was jabbing at him. I was like, you know what, though? You still have your son. And that's a prize that nobody can take away. But I know that his mind is like, you fucked up, right? You fucked up, you idiot. When your son grows up and like, Dad, you fucked up. That's what he's going to think when he saw this show.
It's hard. I haven't been offered $180,000 for the $1 million. I know myself very well. I would take. You can't fool me into the $1 million. I'm taking the 180. If the 180's in the bag, I believe that I could enjoy the 180 just fine.
Hell yeah.
Ask yourself this, Brendan. Is a free $180,000 today valuable to you?
Hell yeah.
Okay, awesome. That's like, is it life-changing enough to you that you could forego the chance of $1 million?
Dude, we're game developers, right? Yeah. We know how games
we've
are
seen
rigged.
The back end, yeah.
Yes, there's ways to gamble. And if I see if all the choices and the avenues are outside of my control, I won't play it.
Yeah.
Right? If it's stacked against me, I won't play it. You're telling me if I flip this coin that I might get it a 50% chance? Maybe at most I will play that. Mm-hmm. But anything below 50-50, hell no.
Yeah.
Like, it's so rigged against me. I'm not going to even try to entertain that.
There's a reason why I go to Vegas and I only play craps.
Yeah.
There's a reason.
It's just, it's unfair. But Great. So I guess we have our homework, right? Yeah. So I want to talk to a meditation person to talk about the benefits, but also I want to stay away from like, all right, listen to my voice. I'm gonna just come on, shut up. I want like daily practices that is useful to the regular person.
Yeah, that's what
on
we
the
need
go.
anyway,
Right? I think people on the go, being able to close your eyes in a crowded station, like those are valuable skills to shut off your brain when there's so much distraction going on. That's like Shaolin monk style type of meditation that I like, right? I would love to talk to someone that has a better grasp about sleeping benefits and the, like, I keep hearing contrasting stories about not being able to bank your sleep. Yes, I think everyone agrees on that, but people who would crunch 5 nights straight and then make up for it the 6, 7, I mean, are you still able to function? Is that long-term damage to that? I would love to finally answer that, because I still don't have a good idea of what that means. Yeah.
I will jump into that real quick. As my last thing is, I just look at it like a car engine.
Yeah.
You can get a lot of mileage out of your car engine if you operate it under redline.
Yeah.
Your car can go into redline and, you know, work at like a high efficiency rate, but you don't want to stay in that zone, and you definitely don't want to go past that zone.
Yeah.
Right. So if you never touch redline, you can get so many miles out of your engine.
Yeah.
You eventually, like, you dip into redline, yeah, your car is still going to be very efficient.
Right.
You pedal to the metal, you're always in red line,
yeah,
you're gonna blow the engine.
Yeah.
I use that as a reference for how I treat myself. So in regards to crunch, in regards to overworking, you can handle it sometimes. Your body is designed for stress.
Yeah.
That's how we survive. We've adapted to stress. But we are not suited for a lifestyle of nothing but stress.
Right.
Take care of yourselves, people. It's been another great episode of Invisible Walls. I look forward to the next one. Brandon, I hope you continue to break through.
Okay. But we have a slight issue with my mouth being stuck here, so you got to unplug that screen, go to your camera,
so we're gonna do one
and
of these.
see us out. Yeah.
All right, so that's Brandon. All right, welcome to Larry Cam. I'm gonna pull this plug out. You're not gonna notice anything happening of the ordinary, out of the ordinary. I got it. Good night, everybody. Thanks for joining.